Vroom vroom. Mr. Saltibus.
We're on the part 3 of learning the Violin 2 part of The Wizard of Oz. We're going to be playing measures 93 to the end, which is, there's 184 measures in the piece. So, first thing I'm noticing here, starting off, is after the first two measures, there's already a page turn. So the best thing to do is make sure that you have a good a good spot to recognize when to change pages. Also have a partner so that way you guys can work together. Somebody changes pages while the other person is still playing. That's always very helpful. In a piece like this, you really don't have a lot of time to change pages. One of the best advices I can tell you, though, is to scan the next page as a copy, put it on the stand anyways, and then what you would do is, when there's a spot like where you have a rest or where the conductor will give you a little bit more time than usual to make those little switches, then do that. Preferably 97 with the fermata in that measure. If you look at it with me, measure 97 has a spot where people are holding that note. So that would be a good spot to maybe quickly shuffle a little papers and get it done. Again, it's always the worst timing, those page turns, but dealing with this, it's a chronic situation that musicians deal with, and some of the other best ways to handle that is just to memorize one page while playing another. Those things you're going to have to learn for yourself, though. Okay? So let's start with measure 93. I'm going to show you what I do with my page turns. I'm going to learn the first two measures. That's going to be a smart idea because we're coming from a fermata. Remember, I told you spots where the conductor gives you time just to do things. So that'll be a perfect time. We just came from slowing down, played the last three notes, and then held that note. Your stand partner wants to switch over that music while you play these two measures, okay, with the conductor. So this is what you want to memorize. So try that again, slower this time. 2, 3, 4. And it also even says to retard at the end of measure 94. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So just remember those notes while someone else is flipping. So see how good you are by practicing doing that. The next page starts on an up bow, so just keep that in mind. So you got to memorize those notes. Conductor, there's a fermata, then and I'm playing high threes. The reason why is because we're in D major now, so now you have to think, F sharps now with C sharps. We just came from playing, huge sections without C sharps. Now we're bringing it back. This is the original key from the beginning. So beginning starts with D major. Then it moves to something else like G major. So now you're with no C sharp for a long time, and now the composer brings back that C sharp for the ending. So it's almost like a finale part. So definitely want to get this down. Use a lot of vibrato during this part. Anytime there's a slow part, everybody's going to know, these parts. Over the Rainbow is very popular. So you want to make sure you use a lot of vibrato. Here's the first two measures that I got to memorize, and then I'm starting on the third page, okay? Here we go. 2 here, then hold, get ready for the high 3, touch the 4, low 1, high 3, very difficult. Measure 99. It's going to start high 3, down bow, then high 1. So the best way to explain it is, here's my normal finger pattern. Here's regular 1, here's high 2, here's normal 3, right? So you want to play low 2. That's the note you want to play. But instead of putting your 2 there, you're going to leave your 2 here and then move your 1 up. So 1, 2, and 3 now touch. It's very similar to what we did with the 2, 3, and 4 in the first part. So now 1, 2, and 3 touch. Technically, 3 does not touch in this one because you're playing high 3. So now the pattern looks like this. It's supposed to look like this, but since we're playing high 1, move that 1 closer to the high 2. So high 2, high 1, regular 1, high 2, low 2, regular 1. So don't let that confuse you too much. All you're doing is you're just moving the 1 closer to the 2 for A sharp, which is the note, the lowest note in measure 99. That's it. Don't let it trip you up too much. Make sure it sounds like this: high 3, high 1. Same thing. If you want to practice playing high 3, low 2, it's the same thing. It should be the same note. So remember, the pattern looks like this now, just for measure 99. Go on, measure 101. Starts off with a high 3. Remember, C sharps. Spots again. So you have measure 106, you got 4 fingers, low 2, then regular 3. So low 2, regular 3 looks like this. So your 4th finger, low 2, and then regular 3. So this is, it just seems funky, but it sounds more funkier than what how you play it, right? So let's start at measure 105. High 2 is where it starts. Then 4, low 2. Back to high 2 at measure 107. Go ahead and write that down. You want to make sure that you're playing high 2 at measure 107 and high 3. So those two go back to normal. That's why at measure 107, the high 3 has a parentheses over the sharp, because they're reminding you, hey, don't forget, normally this is sharp. Okay? 107 sounds like this. And starts up bow, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's try that slowly with me. Up bow, ready, play. Okay, so let's start at measure 101. Let's start at measure 98. 98 would be a good spot. This is where the trouble starts. So high 3 here, ready, play. So let me go ahead and explain a couple things. First thing to explain is, don't forget, measure 111, high 3. 111, high 3, mark it. You got the high 2 again on the D string, and then you have the high 3 on the G string. Measure 112, you have a tie. you sort of want to put a little pulsation in between those notes, so to make sure that you did the same, you're playing the next note, if anything. Try not to just go, or they would have just written it, you know, D half note, but they wanted you to sort of, excuse me, they sort of wanted you to put a little pulse at measure 112, so make sure you're stretch 4 on that G string. You want to stretch those fingers on the G string. Oh goodness. So here, tremolo, then accent again on the half notes. So you're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2 like that, and then go 3. High 2, right? So 115. Okay, so I'll go back a little bit. Here's 109, measure 109. So it says dreaming, right? Dreaming. So 109, ready, play. So everything's pretty laid out for you. You can figure most of this stuff out. Measure 122, watch out for high 2, low 1, then regular 2. That's sort of like measure 106. You gotta watch out for those little funky fingerings type deals. So here we go. This is what 122 sounds like. High 2, low 1, low 2. So you're moving your second finger from high to low 2, right? So then regular 1, a lot of movement, regular 1 again, low 1, then you can play open A. That's fine. So listen to how it sounds, starting at 122. Okay. Now you're going to slow down at measure 124. You want to circle that retard because you're going to slow down. The conductor's going to slow down here. So you're coming from then 1, 2, 3, then slower here. 2, 3, 4, 1, even slower. And then fourth finger, soft. Look up, because we're at a fermata, and then the conductor will cut you off. Okay? The next part. So that was pretty much the climax. The next part, measure 129. You start off in 6/8. So you need to count like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 2 clear downbeats per measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how I did 1, 2. And then I came up and I'm about to do 1, 2 again. So this is the speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to put your notes right in that. So this is how it sounds. You want to make sure you're putting high 3 again at measure 131. High 3 on the G string. It doesn't say that on there. I'm looking at it right now. It does not say that on there. Please put that on there so when you look at the music, you know to play high 3 on the G string. That will mess people up. And you want it to sound as good as possible. So here it is again. they have a little trip up there. So 1, high 3, 4. And you can do that on the other one that measure 30. Okay, so I'm going on. So I'll play 129 slowly for you this time, and then we'll go on. Go on. High 3. 137. Let me explain that real quick. If you look at the notes clearly, 143, you're looking at, the first down note is A, which you're playing with your fourth finger. The very next note is where we start to run into trouble. F sharp, F natural, G sharp, and then G natural. So you're moving your fingers. I'm going to show you like this. You're going F sharp, F natural, and then stretching your G pretty far, G sharp, and G natural. Where now the G natural is here. That's just what it says. So you got to make sure that you're trying that out. So high 2, low 2, high 3, low 3. Okay. So let's try that again. I'm actually going to try it up to tempo this time from 129, so you can hear what it sounds like. Spot goes like this. It's very quickly. Okay, 145. Continue about this speed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stop there just for a sec to explain some things. You have a bunch of ties. Don't worry about the ties. Really just try to learn how the song is, so that way you can sort of portray what's happening. Definitely do the bowings. The bowings are going to help. So also watch out for like measure 151, high 3, 152, regular 3, and then you have 147, the normal high 3s on the G string. You want to mark those as well. Okay, so when we're getting to like measure 155, you have G, then F sharp, lift, a little lift. So you want to make sure. See how I lifted there? Watch again. Lift. So you want to use that extra note they give you that's tied onto the original note and measure 156. To lift, so that way you can be here. Okay, so let's try it slowly now. 155, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, high 3, high 2. 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, and I also lifted there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Now play it up to speed. Measure 155. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so practice that. Okay, 161. Same speed, 2, and ready, play. Watch out. 1, low 2, high 2. Right off the bat. Ready, again. counting. Watch the counting, because the counting is a killer. So 165. 165. So it's going to sound like there's only 2 beats per measure, but that's because you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember that. So that's why that filling sounds like that. 165. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you go on. High 3. And then wait for the conductor. He's going to give the big downbeat. Other players are going to play on the downbeat. You're going to come in on the second beat. So 1, 2, 3. Remember now it's triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. But make sure you're doing the triplets, you're counting, it's important. So again, ready, go, rest. Triplet, 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 1, 2. Hold, then big down bow. Okay, so that was the end of the piece. I'm going to go back to measure 93, which is where we started. Remember, learn the first 2 measures. Even if you have to go back, practice it a little bit, learn the first 2 measures. Here, I'm about to learn it right now. And I'm focused on the bowing. I'm making sure I'm doing everything right. So measure 93, now I'm turning the page. Got that memorized. Here we go. Think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. 181, rest. Always at the tip here and then off. Okay? So this one is the hardest part from 93 to the end. There's a lot of hard parts in here. This is a high school piece, so it's very difficult, but with a lot of patience, with a lot of time, even a normal kid, a beginner, somebody like that can really get a piece like this down fairly well, even to almost a mastery if they understand the piece, they've listened to it many times on jwpepper.com. Those are things that I advocate, making sure that you're utilizing all the resources, not just practicing, because you also need to learn how to listen and identify which parts sound correct or which one doesn't, because when you play you need to fix errors that you either mess up on. So just keep that in mind. This is a wonderful piece. Spend a lot of time on it. It's going to give you a lot of pleasure to play along with other folks because they have different parts. The second violin part mainly isn't that interesting. There's a lot of spots that aren't as interesting as the first violin part, obviously. But there are some spots in here that require a lot of attention, a lot of practice, and are harder than the first violin part. So you've got to make sure you spend a lot of time on this, okay? Other than that, good luck, guys, and I'll see you in class.
Vroom, vroom. Mr. Saltibus.